Hello boys and girls, this is a short video on the papers of the Machine Intelligence Research Institute. On the weekend I was pointed to this webpage where they have collected all their work that is available online in PDF form over the years. These are, I counted, 108 papers, and so today is my last day of my vacation, and I sat at the coffee and went through this long list and picked out what papers might be of interest to me, what could I read. And I thought maybe for people who are interested in machine learning from a perspective that does not necessarily align with the current deep learning efforts, but go more in a future prediction direction. I will quickly point out the highlights, what I found to be maybe worth reading. Clearly, I'm coming from a perspective who is not an expert in artificial intelligence, or even especially artificial general intelligence. So when it's really about conceptualizing intelligence as we would naively understand it. So what I did is I went through the papers. I glimpsed all of them, read the abstracts, and then in what is now available as a gist online, I kind of quotes unquote ranked those papers. These pluses mean go from 1 to 4 pluses and denote how interesting it would be for me to read them anyway. And they don't really reflect quality or anything like that. But these are more what I found would be good introductions for me. And if one of those papers has a lower ranking, that might also just denote that I imagine there's something else available. And so some of those are just quick notes on discussions probably they had also on events, and other are almost in book form. A few of them have over 100 pages, and there are several surveys, and usually the surveys I ranked also higher as an introductory material. Like, I have the feeling that I learn more and get into the nomenclatures and the lingua of a field when I start with this overview papers and see also the reference work and so on and so forth. So as you can see, this goes back to essentially 2007. There are even some works earlier, and at first all of them are by this guy. And so it starts with this thing, which is really a book. And so that is, I think that's this one. So these are the first ones. They are really more essays than math papers. And here on these tabs, I just highlight a few things that might be especially worth looking into. So if I browse through those texts, then you see that this is just basically a reflection on other work and estimations and discussions of the topics. I think these are probably quite good and over 100 pages long, so it's really more than more of a book. And all these earlier works kind of look like that. I was interested in that because they also intersect with like classical moral theory and philosophy a little bit, and in these papers, apart from being a sort of survey on concepts, also highlight notions that you will probably learn in a philosophy degree as well. One of the more recent ones, and there are also other YouTube videos that like more on a layman's level. So this is a really math and logic paper, and everything you find on YouTube except for talks are more like friendly introductions, let's say. But this is also like a very long paper, 130 pages, and it's all about logical induction, by which they mean making estimates of the truth value of formal statements, for example, logic statements like in piano arithmetic, before you even are able to derive their truth value formally. So basically, in a way, a pattern recognition models for estimating, like making sensible and consistent guesses about what the truth values are. And then if you look at this paper, which is really quite fascinating, they use a lot of like market lingua, and this does not exist in a vacuum. So they base their work on other stuff that goes in a similar direction. I guess I have to scroll faster to get to the nitty-gritty of it. And they speak about, like, you know, buying and selling, basically statements based on how highly you judge that they are true or not, and so on and so forth. So this looks quite solid, and a lot of work also leads up to that. If you look through the, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years that they have papers on their site, you see, as I said at the beginning, they start out with this more, generic, I don't want to say generic, I mean general, just plain English descriptions of their estimations and all the concepts that are relevant. And then once there are more authors, it goes into a more logical direction in parts, and some of them are just hosted on the website, some of them are there, they're linked directly to the archive, and then you kind of see themes getting into this. So a lot of the work intersects with decision theory, of course, and also in logic, formal logic in particular, probabilistic approaches to logic, and a lot of work also on Loeb's theorem. I have this linked here also. So this is basically proof theory, and a lot of the logical work that they do in the later years regarding intelligence uses kind of this realm of formal logic as well. So again, it's not so much like there's, I think, no paper on stochastic gradient descent or something like these things I talked about on this YouTube channel before. But it's more of this interplay with deductive reasoning, and also just a lot of reflecting on estimations of other experts in the field, and talking about, you know, singularity, but not in a too outrageous clickbaity way, I would say. So quite interesting. We had that already, I think. So then some of the papers are, this is, for example, just a kind of survey on general progress in the recent years on different algorithmic fields. So I think that might be worth reading, even if you're not, like, surely they have an AI spin to it. But to keep up to date, I guess worth checking out this stuff. As I said, Loeb's theorem, mathematics. These are some papers which are more like formal than maybe others that you find parallel to that. Here also probabilistic inference, math paper that I highlighted. So this is more like if you have the logic background stuff that I talk about on this channel quite a bit as well. Decision theory, as I said, so sometimes they have their own frameworks and spins on existing work, and what I find nice, like for one, these papers look really well written, otherwise I would not talk about them here on the channel. And also they paid use to what came before them and discuss other things. So same here for game theory and so on. Okay, for the sake of not making the video so long, I'm under 10 minutes. I hope that's of interest to you. I might come back and actually go deeper on one of those papers I highlighted. Again, you find these lists at the moment on a gist of mine. together with what I highlighted, if that helps you. Maybe you have to work in the field yourself and search for papers that might contain what you need. Otherwise, here is the web address, and with that I say good night.